Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are here with another episode of Macross 7. Before anything else, though, we have a comment from the episode Satan's Dolls, which is an SDF Macross episode, from Nozumo Yumi. Captain is both a position on a ship and a military rank. When a person is in command of a ship, they are referred to as captain, regardless of their military rank. Aircraft carriers are typically under the command of an admiral, but they are still referred to as captain when they are exercising their duties as the commanding officer of the ship. Similarly, if a ship is under the command of someone of lower rank, they are still referred to as captain when they are commanding the ship. When translating from Japanese, this becomes mostly an issue of translation, as the rank of captain and the position of the person running the ship are different words. Sometimes when you see captain in the translation, they're translating the rank. Sometimes they're translating a completely different word, meaning the position of the ship.
The commenter is mostly right, and I think I said that when in the comments originally, but they say that a carrier is under the command of an admiral. That's not true. A carrier, at least in the United States Navy, has its own captain. What tends to happen is that carriers are what considered flagships, i.e., they are ships that are designed for or have facilities for command of a task force or something like that. So you would consider the SDF-1 to be a carrier in that sense, the flagship of the Earth forces, right? And so it should have had an admiral to command not so much the ship itself, although of course if the admiral gives an order, the ship will, captain and the crew will carry it out. But if you have a task force that is more than one ship, then you can have an admiral on commanding the entire force, and of course, they're the high-ranking officer. In fact, there's again, and this is only in the United States. I don't know how to say it in other places. If you were to go to the admiral's office, the phrase is going to flag a country, because admirals and generals are considered to be quote unquote flag officers. They're one step above what's called command or combat commands. But again, that's the United States and they're right. When Japanese, I think the term honcho uh, in English comes from the Japanese for chief or somebody in command, and that sometimes is translated in English to captain, both of a ship and also the rank, even though it's not really a rank, right? So it's like saying the boss, right? The hey, yes, boss, no boss kind of thing, as opposed to military command, military rank. So there's no confusion there.
Well, let's hope this plays out well. Like you said, in the United States, in America, let's hope that plays well in the Japanese Navy.
I mean, the current self-defense maritime force it still has some traditions from the Imperial Japanese Navy, but it was reformed after World War II, and a lot of it is patterned after the American United States Navy for obvious reasons. Literally, if you were to see, for example, as an example, a self-defense force, which is the Army, they would have a uniform, and it would literally say Army on the uniform, even though they're Japanese, right? But they would say it in English. So
All right.
there's some cross cultural stuff there.
Well, yeah, you know, I can't remember what it's called, redevelopment or something like that. Post-war economic boom. Sorry, I'm going through all the buzzwords in my head. Anyway, how about you go ahead and remind us of what happened last time?
Last time was a very important episode, because before that episode, so we have to go 2 episodes back. Last episode was The Mystery of the Ruins with a question mark at the end. And before that was Men's Passionate Song. At the end of Men's Passionate Song, Basara and Giggle discover, and I suppose Sivil as well, discover a set of ruins, which we speculated were protoculture ruins. Turns out, in fact, they were the ruins of the protoculture here on planet Lux. Which, by the way, reminder to everybody who's watching, we're still in planet Lux, right? We've been there for about what,
Well,
6, 7
as
episodes?
George Carlin would
Yeah,
say, we're still on Planet Lux.
on, yeah. Well, not in the
Well,
on.
technically, for a short period of time, Civil was in the Planet Lux.
Yeah. And sorry. And FOMO, also known as Exodo, decides to visit the ruins. Like, oh, these are protoculture ruins. I want to see them. And Max is like, are you sure you want to do that? It's like, well, I have to, we might get some answers. And they do. And she's joined by Mylene and Gamblin. And as they're exploring the ruins, they see a door, speak well. What's speak well and enter, friend? Never mind. It has a
Speak
sign
friend and
saying,
enter is the Lord of the
yeah,
Rings thing.
yeah. It's just
You're going for um bringer of peace, symbol of peace.
yeah, simple piece. Because basically, this ruin has on its walls written in the protoculture language, which we first saw in the movie, the
Which
entire
is
history of
very
the
much the
protocol.
same as Zentradi, according to FOMO.
Yeah, the history of the protoculture and how they created Centrati to fight their wars, and then at some point something else came out, and when they reach this door, it's like, oh, we need to sign a peace. But soldier goes like, screw that, I have an assault rifle, and starts shooting the door.
To be fair, it actually worked.
Yeah, that activates a trap, which needles or something that comes out of the everywhere. One of them lances hits Mylene. She bleeds on the floor. And apparently the floor also has sensors. So it detected the blood as being a mixture of Centrati and human blood. That seems to have been the symbol for peace. Because we have to do this quickly. The writers are not going to actually have us have like a half an hour analyzing stuff. The door opens. A shadowy figure within this halo of light appears, who either is a recording or it's someone who is in stasis. They're humanoid, and they say they're from the protoculture, and they start giving us a spiel of where the proto delvin go. Meanwhile, Basara is going to his magic space ride with Sybil and Giggle. They're literally just flying this bubble. Kind of reminds me of the Ulysses 31 intro, if anybody knows that old anime, French, Japanese anime.
Ulysses.
Yeah, and they're just flying in Sybil's bubble, and they're just going places and galaxies. And while this person, the last of the protoculture, literally the society, is telling people this is what happening, blah blah. Turns out that the proto devlin are they're energy beings from another reality that somehow came into our reality, and also they created. When describing the Centrati, they created Centrati and the evil. I don't know if the evil stands for the
Oh,
supervision
you better
army or
believe
not.
I've
We
got a
don't know.
whole fucking comment note section about this. So
And eventually, what's his name? Gablin? No, Gabble and Grabble show up to attack the and destroy the ruins because Lord Gebenik detects the ruins, goes like, "Oh, protoculture, we got to destroy that. That's bad, right?" And essentially, it's that what the protoculture managed to do was they put the Pro Devil to sleep. They couldn't destroy them, so they put them to sleep. And he or it is about to tell us exactly what to do in the middle of battle, Grabble or Gabble, doesn't really matter, breaks through,
I mean,
attacks this
kind of
giant
does.
thing, attacks
Gabble is
attacks this
human
figure, just
sized. Grabble is a
yeah,
giant kaiju. It really, really
uh
changed the scene depending on which one's doing a thing.
yeah, because Grabble is attacking with his hex powered beam, attacking this field. Eventually they do break through. Gabble then goes into this humanoid creature, which seems to be gigantic because he's supposed to be human size, and blows it up alongside the entirety of the ruins. He turns the ruins into a ruin.
I guess technically, since
But
this isn't my notes now, so I'll bring it up now. It's not. I say
mhm,
it's not in my notes, but you brought it up, so I want to actually touch on it. I guess the protoculture guys are actually giants too, because Gabble
apparently, yeah.
flies into him, and Gabble gets real
Hmm.
small in perspective. So it's
Unless it's
funny
some
that
kind
the
of projection
protoculture.
or computer or something like that. But
I'm
even then, it's
assuming it
still
was like a
giant
guy.
size.
I'm assuming Star Trek episodes, right? The first appearance of the
Yeah.
Ferengi.
Hmm.
That the guy, also the one that they made the Star Trek game about. That dude. That he was just a guy in stasis or something, and he just woke back up for this.
I mean, also there's a conversation that seems to suggest that he was in stasis, right? That he was woken up for this purpose, right? So anyway, Gabo goes in, blows him up. Everybody escapes, including Exodal, who gets buried. But he's Centrati, giant Centrati, so he's like, "Oh man, this is kind of shitty." And that's the end of the episode. The ruins get ruined, and we don't know exactly what is required to put the Proto Delvin back to sleep. That seems to be the way you defeat them. But of course, oh yes, uh, Basara, Sivil, and Giggle come back from the space magic carpet ride and land back down the same planet. So what exactly they were doing? Basara seems to get some kind of revelation about this, but this being the Basara being Basara, we don't know if he actually will say anything. It's like, oh man, I had a wonderful trip. Anyway, I'm gonna sing. Yeah, that's probably how it's gonna happen. Right? That's the closest thing we're gonna get from Basara. And of course, this being the theme of the show, we kind of already know what exactly we don't know exactly what needs to be done, but we know it has to involve singing. So you have to sing these creatures back to sleep, right? Which might be the spiritual anima, right?
I mean, I've got a real dumb theory, but I don't even think it involves music. I'll just say it now so I can get it out of the notes. So Sivil was clearly in a coma before. Anima Spiritua is the way to put Proto-Devlin into a coma, according to the protoculture guy, right? Sivil only fell into that state after she kissed Basara. So is the answer just gonna be love? Love is how you defeat the Proto-Devlin?
Or porn, either way.
No, no. That was a funny joke for the Zentradi. I don't think that works here. I think literally Sivil fell in love with Basara, and that put her into a coma. I'm thinking this is gonna be one of those real corny things that love saves the day.
Yeah. I mean, which also means that his attempt to wake her up were backfiring because he's the one who projects spiritual
Well,
spiritual
remember that
anima
she wakes
spiritual.
up with all the spiritua that Giggle gives her,
Yeah. So yeah.
and that comes
So
from
all the time.
outside instead of inside.
Yeah.
Giggle doesn't wake her up with his own stuff. Also, remember there's different kinds of spiritua: musician spiritua, builder spiritua. What if anima spiritua is just love spiritua? Because we know there's also fear spiritua, which is what Giggle typically takes.
Yeah, but also remember that every time they talked about Basara, they talk about anima spiritual.
Well, you also remember that I've brought up multiple times that they've also brought up other people having anima spiritua. Flower Girl, for example, who's very much enraptured by Basara. Mylene, who's enraptured by two other people. So I think my plot here is fulling. I mean, fulling. I don't saying random words now to fill space. I think my idea is being fulfilled in that
I
the
mean,
anima spiritua that gets detected on the thing is three people, well, two people that we know are in love. Maybe Basar's in love with himself, and maybe that's why that works.
literally, if we take from the Latin to English, it means animating spirit.
Yeah, like I said, it's just dumb. I'm pretty sure it's love. I'm gonna
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
gonna
love
ride
makes
this
it
train
love.
down until another protoculture guy shows up.
Love is a way, it's makes the world go round. I guess it makes the galaxy and the universe go
No,
round as
actually, it
well. So
stops it. It stops it from going around, according to this. It's the Star Trek thing. Oh yeah, what's the one with the planet of immortality? The movie, the Next Generation movie,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
love can slow
Nemesis.
down time.
Nemesis.
Yeah, it sounds right. No, Nemesis was the Picard clone from the Romulans.
Yeah,
The
no.
one before
Yeah. I
that.
know where I saw that on the. It was okay movie. I saw it on theaters. I don't
You know, the one
remember.
with the shuttlecraft fight that involves also singing British drinking songs.
Yeah, no.
The British dog is a dinosaur. You know, with an out of control data.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the movie, but I
Anyway, there's specifically a
actually don't
scene in
remember.
that one where Picard's falling in love with a immortal woman on the planet, and she's like, "Love can make time slow down," and he actually sees it happening for real. So I guess it can actually. I don't know. The idea, the idea that
Yeah.
love can stop the
It
world.
it's an idea.
So yeah, if that is your wrap up, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you the link for the board here. Only not so much for the board itself, but this thing that I've done on the side. As I said, I'm going to go through everything that Proto Devlin guy said, but more specifically, literally the most important part. The most important part with a bunch of added shit by me. And while you're getting on, I'm just going to go ahead and start. The protoculture guy says that their race split into two when they went into space and started fighting. So we have protoculture and we have other protoculture because the race split into two when they started fighting. They created the Centrati so they wouldn't have to stain their own hands in battle. Boom, we got Centrati. Eventually, soldiers stronger than the Centrati were created, the Evil. We know that in SDF Macross, they said that the race that created the Centrati also created the Supervision Army, so only having two options, the Evil must be the Supervision Army. Then the
Yep.
Proto Devlin destroyed the protoculture. I guess I should have a red line going that way. I didn't do that. But didn't the Centrati say that they destroyed their creators? The only way I could possibly make all these statements work, assuming that they aren't just bad writing or oversights, is that the Proto Devlin take over people, like all the humans and Trotty they are using as weapons in the current show. And we are getting a real Star Wars Vader killed your father thing going on. Like, the Proto Devlin took over the Centrati and made them kill their creators, and now the Centrati just say that they did it themselves. Protoculture guy says that through a warp in space and time, energy beings from another dimension have possessed the evil. Sorry, bad reading on my part. And those are the people they call the Proto Devlin. So that fits with the controlling bodies thing. So if we're to be right, the evil would also have to consider themselves Centrati, or used to. Also, it would explain why the Centrati and Supervision Army are at war, and the Centrati baked in fear of the Proto Devlin.
Here that they might be possessed.
Well, that's why I have the Proto Devlin here with a green line towards the evil. I should put Supervision Army beneath that, being that they're possessing them, which has caused them to kill the protoculture, but also being in a war with the Centrati. But also that the evil and the Centrati would be at war with another version of the protoculture because that's what they were created to do. So I don't know. Maybe this is us. I don't know. Maybe we're the other protoculture.
I don't know if that's true though, because again, the whole
Well, remember that the protoculture were giants. That one guy we saw was a
Mhm.
giant. What if they mycloned themselves? And that's the other protoculture.
or maybe the split was that some of them remain my clones, and then the other ones decided to become giants.
Well, we don't know that they ever made themselves giants. We just know that that one guy was a giant. I'm just using it the myclone thing as an example. Just like You know, when you come up with a hypothesis and you try and force the results to make your hypothesis right, I'm just trying to use all
Yeah,
available data to push an idea.
I mean, it's not a bad hypothesis. It's just that again, the way this guy explained things, especially with the evil, is like, oh, okay, that's a new one. I guess they would
Well,
consider the evil because they were the enemies, but you know,
well, they're not though, because they made them. So they weren't the enemies when they called them the evil. So, like I said, my thing is that protoculture is dead, but there's other protoculture out there, and we've never referred to that. That was like just introduced last episode.
yeah.
Um,
It makes sense. I mean, if it was a galaxy expanding civilization,
oh
they
no,
would have other
no,
outposts.
that's not even true. They're not a galaxy spanning civilization. They're a universe spanning civilization. They say. They say they span the universe. Hold on. Da-da-da-da-da. I'll just go ahead and read my first. I actually skipped my second thought to make sure I can get this out of the way. First thought: Basara, Sivil, and Giggle just fly off into deep space, do a tour, and come back. Maybe they met Sarah and Shin while they were out there. Hell, maybe they saw Mega Road 1. Anything could have happened since we don't know why they went out there. I mean, one shot of them looked like they were going to another galaxy. The only hint being that Civil, the one bringing them along, said Anima Spiritua, and Basara seeing a black hole and calling it incredible. In the end, they make a flyby of the Proto-Devlin planet. The fact that the protoculture guy says they spread through the universe, then describes Spiritua only in terms of this galaxy, and then we see Basara and gang flying across many galaxies at the end of their trip. I don't know how to read any of that in the moment. But yeah, no, protoculture guy says there was universe. They spread through the universe. And then describes
Yeah,
Spiritua as a galaxy thing.
I mean, I guess both can be true.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
it's
I'm not saying that they.
I, I could always say, oh, when you meant the universe, the known universe, right? A known space, right? So what they know for it's a nitpick, I know,
I don't
but
think
it
it's
can
true
also
though,
be
because
like,
again, we saw Sivil flying through many galaxies. So
again, I didn't care for that part. Sure.
all
Sorry
I'm
about
just
that.
saying, it. We saw her do it. Also, I don't. I wasn't implying that they were separate or not. That they weren't compatible thoughts with one another. You could spread throughout the universe, and then also one thing being unique to this galaxy still wouldn't be untrue. Be a real Stargate thing, really. You know, the Ori are out there all throughout the universe, but the ancients are just here in this galaxy. Or I guess Star Trek 2 with the Great Barrier.
I mean, the Ori are on another galaxy. They have their one galaxy, and then they invade this
Yeah,
galaxy,
sure,
but
but
their
I
energy
mean, they
brings
got
them.
kicked out of this galaxy to be in that galaxy, and why not? Why couldn't they spread? Why couldn't there be some Ori priest guy over in Atlantis, right?
Sure.
Just for that one hookup where the Ori meet the Wraith, so that the Ori guy will get drained, because there's no way the Ori is standing up to the Wraith. Not without his big bosses, and the big bosses aren't leaving the other galaxy.
I mean, they do have kind of magical powers like telekinesis and stuff like
Yeah, up
that
until you
because they can
stop
project.
believing in them. Literally, the Ori's big weakness was don't believe in them anymore and they have no power. Shitty, shitty way to end that war. Um, so yeah, that is the that is the history of the universe here laid out in 5 images, which is, as I believe it, to be entirely accurate. So long as this guy is not a bad narrator, right? If he wasn't lying, this is all true, I think. Except for that part
Or
where
I
I.
mean, there's always I they do say to wake him up, but I think that it could easily be like a hologram or projection or a computer or something like that as well. So that
Yeah.
I
Hey,
didn't know how clear it was that it was literally a guy who was being like trapped in technological amber, waiting for somebody to show up. Like, oh, hey, you're here. Okay, let me get my spiel. Let me just check my
I think
book.
that's what it was. My interpretation is that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean that's so how they talk about it. But
Well,
hey,
I mean,
I can
also,
only imagine. No, I can imagine the guy waking up, going like, "Oh, you're here. Okay, let me check this blood analysis. Okay, centrality, human. Okay, let me get the Bible, the story Bible. I'm like, okay, in the beginning, you know."
well, I mean that implies that their technology wasn't advanced enough that you actually had to like do an aliens or whatever wake up from stasis like, oh god, you know,
Mhm.
or a Rita Repulsa. 5,000 years, I'm
Or
free. Time to
yeah,
talk about the past. You know, I could
or
be
have all that
just
information downloaded in his brain or something, right?
yeah. No, I mean like he could have like studied all last night and then got frozen in time and woke up exactly ready to say everything he studied. Either way, my point was more that Gabble flew into him, right? Gabble
Mhm.
could have like just fucking started destroying the building if he was just part of the building.
Yeah, less dramatic, but still.
Yeah. And let me delete this little thing that I made. I started making this all up in a notepad before I decided to put it here on the board. So I have my little notepad pyramid drawing version. All right, here. Let's see. Shot in the dark, guess from me. But the Proto Devlin we see in Macross 7 could just be the evil Supervision Army that are being controlled from elsewhere. Since we know that the control is coming from outside time and space, or are just random other species from across all of space that they are inhabiting, thus why there is no unified form to them, that the Proto-Devlin just occupied whatever strong forms that they found. The only reason I'd suspect some of them might be the evil is that the image for what the evil looked like on the mural of protoculture history kind of looked like Volgo. The smaller ones have just more exaggerated elf-like ears. Could be what giant evils and myclone evils are like.
I mean, it also explains why some of them anyway can do summon creatures and fire beams and stuff like that, because they're extra dimensional beings that get their power from. I mean, they get this power from spiritual, but
Do you remember when we were watching Pluto and we had the whole debate about whether Pluto's power was transcendental from himself,
yeah,
if he could do them in other bodies? I think that the powers that we attribute to these bodies are just from outside space and time. That anybody, like conceivably Rex, while Sivil was controlling them, could have flown off and done something.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the idea that the evil could just be these things, that's my go-to for right now, as my shot in the dark for the future. Last thought here. It also seems like the Spiritua farm idea is just their answer to running out of Spiritua, which I know seems like a duh thought, but we know that the Proto-Devlin only came around about the time the Protoculture did, and in the process, they just about drained the galaxy of Spiritua. After that, they went into weakened sleep states for what seems to be the entire length of time until now. So, farming Spiritua just seems to be the first thing they came up with when they woke up. Also, I guess our expedition force landing on the remote ice world was just proof for them that Spiritua based life forms had expanded to such a degree as to have crossed space and investigating new worlds, which was their sign to wake up and harvest again.
Kind of like the Atlantis expedition going and waking up the Wraith, right?
Yep, that's why we keep using it as an example. It is
Hmm.
very much par. All right, I mean, you have anything you want to add?
Not really. Looking forward to the next episode. This episode, which will be Basara. No, sorry, I skipped one. Civil of the Forbidden Planet.
All right, well, I
Hope
guess
she speaks in more than a couple of syllables. More than 2 words. Actually speaks entire sentences this time.
maybe she did just wake up. Maybe she's reverse. Don't talk to me till I get my coffee, woman. All
Baby.
right. Well, I say let's go ahead and hop on into it.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Unless the red lady is him getting taken over.
I think with Sybil, I think Sybil is the only one that fits the redhead lady.
Could be anybody. Could be Gepernick in red. I mean,
I don't think he.
Gepernick is female form. I mean, it's a male, but feminine form and long hair.
Yeah, but we also seen that Sybil literally has red hair when she lets it out.
Now it's purple. How do we always have debates about what color hair people have? Yeah, no, literally, it's like bluish purple. We were just looking at it on the board.
No, I said red because that was the color it was when it was in the cocoon. I said, hey, she has red hair. When she was trapped in the cocoon and it activated, it actually went red for a little bit.
That doesn't ring a bell to me at all.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I got multiple pictures of Sivil for the board, and they're all purple. Purple, blue. And I don't think Civil's dyeing her hair like the Max excuse from before.
No.
Can't call it mysterious anymore. We just gave him the whole backstory. Also, like a million people dead. We just don't cover that every episode. What? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, they evolved over 10 million years. Like
No.
humanity evolved over millions of years.
No, remember the Protoculture got into a fight with the Proto-Devlin around the same time. And
500.
oh yeah,
500,000
500,000. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
It takes a while for them to get to that point. Yeah.
Well, no, I was thinking 500 million. For some reason, my head was going wide. Why? I mean, you know where they're at if you know where they landed. You can't win a fight with them. People are just asking to die.
Sivil. They say Sivil, not Civil, but we say Civil.
That red hair.
Not now.
Okay, I guess it's fair if they're looking for Giggle and Gang. I thought they were looking for, like, Gabble and Grabble. People that would fucking kill them.
Okay, what's wrong with him?
Also, we saw him looking out the window at that moon, and we just saw the moon pass in front of Miley.
No, he's out of it.
Also, he wasn't there for that part. There's that moon again. Are we just doing circles? No, according to this, we're heading a straight line. So repairs must be complete. The last
Guess
time we
so.
heard was 80%.
館長、ご説明いただきたいものですわね。プロトカルチャーの遺跡が見つかったとき、なぜシティオフィスには連絡をいただけなかったのか。
詳しい事情がわかるまではことを荒立ててはいけないと思ったのでな。
せめて私には連絡してほしかったものですわ。シティを守る市長の私には。それに私はゼントラーディンの血を引く一人ですから。
うん。これからは注意しよ
う。これからは？
艦長、敵艦多数、ラクス上空に出現。至急ブリッジに戻ってください。
わかった。すぐ行く。
Oh, right, the barrier. We talked about the barrier in the next time on.
待ちなさい。襟元が乱れて。
That's a big skirt.
何事もルーズにならないように。艦長、ブリッジイン。艦長、敵戦艦、その
She cares. He and her poopy skirt scare.
That she's trying to sweet talk him into. Oh.
この約束された惑星で自由と幸福を得たサンプルたちよ。果てぬ夢に酔いしれ暮らすがよい。引き換えに我々はスピリチアを吸収する。永遠に命の果てるまで。スピリチア。これこそ究極の夢。
Thanks, Fomo.
スピリチアファーム。どういうことなの?
Well, she said he. At least he said something this time.
一刻も早くこの星から脱出せねばならん。直ちに脱出ルートを探し出せ。
了解。
The only way they can win is by singing their way out, so you know that. That's
well. The only way they're gonna
I like
win is by
Vita's
main characters.
Yeah, Vita's is her response is like, you know, she drums a salute. Oh.
So big and included other galaxies. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that she was giving him clues to, or not clues, like, you know, don't overlook the little things.
Oh, the flower blossom.
No, you shot bomber, not fire. One of these is a legal problem.
Do they connect him directly to the ship and he sings his way through the barrier, I guess? That's a lot of ships.
70,000, they said.
夢が転がり始めた。夢のほころびが広がらぬうちに溶かしてしまわねば。惑星ゲーゲー艇に落ちたシビルとギギルを抹殺せよ。
So maybe they've got like a thing that's like automatically draining the spiritua from anything that's on the planet. And having these two proto-devlin on the planet is actively messing that up.
I guess so.
Nani? Gigi, Sivil, 喜ぶがいい。貴様たちはこのガビルが消滅の美に包んでやる。
You know. Okay, now she's back. She's awake again. Or not.
Hey, there's that mental connection I said when they kissed. And they automatically knew each other's names.
that sudden armor that the ships get the moment he's
There
in
we
it.
go. I told you.
Yeah.
なんだと。
脱出ルート A からアルファダメです。ポイント AK7 偵察隊全滅、オレンジラブリング隊全滅。すべての脱出ルートが断たれました。惑星ラックスの周辺宙域は完全に包囲されています。
上空への脱出は不可能のようですな。この星で家畜として暮らすしかないのかもしれませんな。
マクロス7船団は現状のままフォールドする。
なんですと、このままホールドする気ですかな。地上から直接ホールドなど。
It's entirely possible, FOMO. You fucking know this.
危険な行為ですぞ。成功率は極めて低い無謀な行為だと思えてなりませんが。
すべては承知の上だ。フォールドを強行するように全艦に通達を。
了解。座標軸 M206S447 空域、ホールド体制 F5M002。
全艦のタイミング調整をしろ。微妙な狂いは死を招くぞ。
I don't know, because he did that thing before where they tried to all fold you at once with multiple fields.
おお、スピリチュアレベルが上がっている。まさにスピリチュアドリーミング。50万年周期の時の落とし物。我が夢の雄たけび。
30秒後、フォールドイン。フォールドシステムが停止。
何？どういうことだ？
フォールドシステムが停止しました。時空
Infiltrators?
に歪みができています。
Oh, no, okay.
フォールドシステムが全く作動しないと各艦から報告が入っています。システム停止の原因と思われる波長をキャッチ。
何？
発信源ポイント G7AB6。
The barrier? Just Vogel. Summoning a devil, apparently.
You have a giant gun.
And so do they.
Yeah, but there's someone else, so you just shoot the guy and so you distract him. I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
サンプルどもよ、我が夢に逆らうことはできぬ。
エメラルドフォースおよびバルキリー隊を出撃させろ。プロトデビルンを叩け。
Because that's ever worked.
Oh, he's underwater.
Yeah, you didn't see that? I tell you, Valkyrie squadrons have like a worse survival rate than red shirts.
Mirena-san, 自分は軍を辞めた人間です。しかし、
So now you're the Basara. You're actually helping.
Doctor, 急いで。
サンドブースター発進。
But you couldn't have just
Couldn't she
pushed
do-
that button?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Here, which is like entertaining Dr. Chiba, right? Oh, you
Yeah.
gotta do it. I'm actually surprised that they're here.
Yeah.
I think Civil's calling me. Oh well.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what that basically happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck a million people. They don't need me. Wait. Now, thank God we saw all those Valkyries actually surviving.
Oh.
And just throw to death with him. What? Wasn't even a song. I recognize this is probably like his suicide move here, but it occurs to me also that Basara's in 2 different love triangles. So, what do you think is better, Mylene's song or this weird duo?
Mylene.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, yeah, he's got the giant body. He looks like he's phasing back to that. On the other hand, goodbye, Lieutenant Automauer. That was your body after all. Oh, he actually has the star on him. Giggle kind of looks like a mix between vocal and grabble.
なんだとサウンドフォースがおおサウンドエネルギーが増幅してバリア状態になった
Okay, this is the suicide move. Kill a couple more Valkyries, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, he didn't survive.
There's a proto-devil to mark off the list. Possibly 2 this episode. We had to get a couple of defense force ships in there too.
ゲペルニッチ閣下、惑星ゲーゲー艇が崩壊します。このままでは我が艦隊も。
ギギル、私の夢を塗りつぶして消えてゆくのか。もっと早くに始末しておくべきだった。このような。
Yeah, you should at the moment he told you he was not following orders. You knew that.
言えたわけではない。新たな夢を成し遂げる策に移る。退却せよ。
Still, this is basically the strongest thing we've seen yet. Planet destruction?
Hmm? I guess we're supposed to mourn the fact that he committed suicide to protect Sivil? Or did he protect him?
He was holding Sivil, but I think he was protecting her with his body, so that his body would go first. No, never mind. That's what it looked like before now. I mean, I feel bad for the guy.
Oh, nobody's gonna. Yeah. I guess.
So glad we had to learn about those fucking creatures that hated fire. Now they're all fucking dead. I mean, you got your wish. We're no longer on planet Lux. Because it's not a thing
there's no more
anymore.
planet Lux to have, yeah.
Yeah. I hope we fully investigated all the wreckage of Macross 5. Before we left. No, I mean, like I say, I feel bad for Giggle. I mean, he was in love, and he did everything he possibly could. And, Sivil really didn't give him the time of day before she left on her mission. So it's one of those, oh, I didn't notice him until he was gone sort of things. Also, technically, was that cat eating the World Trade Center?
Wow, that would be an interesting choice.
Well, I mean, it wasn't
yes,
that
in
interesting.
I know, in the 1990s,
yeah. Also, the only proto-devlin that's kind of made the full-on switch to almost supporting the good guy side, or at least the human side.
Sort of. I mean, they had basically the same goal, so that's why they were siding with each other.
Well, him and Basara did anyway. Obviously, his sacrifice helped the escape, but I mean, I don't know if that was even the intent. Basara didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Basara technically returned to this episode.
we were talking about what was happening with Sivil, and how she survived or what she's going to do next. Because he said basically this was the return of Basra. That's a city in Iraq. Uh, even though the next episode is titled, Basara Returns. And
Yeah, Basara
Shivel
didn't
didn't
go
do anything.
anywhere, I think is what I said.
Yeah. And Shivel didn't do much of anything, so.
Well, I mean, that's the basis of the naming conventions of Macross 7. Fighting Mayor Milia, very end of the episode. Like I said though, I get proven right a lot during these shows, but to no effect. I feel like I think Gabble is one of the bigger ones, and he has a form in the ice and all that stuff too. Oh, and look, he did. Cool, I was just right though. That's all I got. Like, it didn't build to anything new. The episode I got proven right is the episode he died.
Well, technically, if he's an energy being, he must be somewhere in space time, but without a body.
I think I was wrong about the big bodies being the evil, because it very much seems like specifically those are them. So I don't know, it feels like it's one of the smaller ones' abilities to inhabit bodies like as energy beings. And the bigger ones have to like mind control from a distance. Two different powers. So like I would think that Gabble could take over Rex's body, for example. Whereas Giggle could not. I guess that would also imply
because he's already inhabiting a body because of its full size.
Well,
so,
I don't know if the lightning indicates anything, but like they got hit by the lightning, and that's when they inhabited those bodies.
Yeah, but I mean, my guess is that they just can't have a body from time to time. So we know we did see that short, right, when they went to the planet originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, they can only the big ones can inhabit human bodies, and the smaller ones can do the same.
No, I'm thinking that the big ones can only inhabit the one body, the one that they took.
Yeah.
Versus the smaller ones being able to switch between a bunch of bodies.
I guess so.
Well,
I mean, if the body dies,
for me, it's not a guess though, because it's evidence that we've seen.
Yeah, but okay, if the smaller body dies for the big ones, could they still inhabit yet another body?
I think they'd have to have a body brought to them at the planet. They're still frozen, technically. They're not awake yet, so it's
still dreaming.
Yeah, or whatever. It's just that the only ones that took over bodies that still have a giant body are the ones that had a human presence or Zentradi presence brought to them at that planet of which they are sleeping, versus the small ones had to be woken up as well, so it doesn't seem like they're strong enough to inhabit a body while asleep, but they can only inhabit bodies while they're awake. That's why the bigger ones are stronger, and that they can inhabit people while they're asleep, but they have to be present for their sleeping forms. Little Cthulhu rules going on here. Whereas the smaller ones seem to be stronger, but they in fact have less power. It's the problem of having to deal with a person that seems like Superman, right? Sivil can fly through a fleet of ships, inhabit bodies, etc., etc., but she doesn't have a beam that's stronger than the Macross 7 thing, right?
Yeah.
So she also can't create life out of nothing. So it's very much they seem stronger because we see them more, but the big guys can do a lot more while asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
But yeah, no, Giggle sacrificed his life, destroyed a planet, and thus emphasizing how strong Giggle actually was this whole time. While asleep.
I mean, no, I think he woke up
No,
and
I'm
came
talking
out.
about. Yeah, of course he woke up. They said he woke up. That's not what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
like, well, please.
well, no, because everything we've seen Giggle do for 37 episodes, he was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the people he put into comas, all the Valkyrie pilots that are dead, that was a dude that was asleep.
Projecting his consciousness into somebody else who's now truly dead because that, whoever he was. Yeah.
So technically, spiritual dreaming is what they're doing already.
So,
yeah, because I guess that implies that even if you put them into a coma, they can still do stuff.
I mean, unless whatever sealed them away weakened enough that they were able to wake up. Because that's the implication of what the protoculture dude said. There's a power that it enables them to put them to sleep.
Right, but who
Right.
did that? Because he says there's a power that can put them to sleep, but also if they eat too much, they'll be weakened and they'll go into like a sleep state. And I'm thinking that they only ate too much and put themselves into a sleep state, not that they actually got put into a coma. Because we already know that he says the Proto-Devlin killed us. So who would have done it?
But, I mean, did they figure that out before they died and left a message saying, hey, this is how you deal with them?
Yeah, I feel
Or
like
was it
it's
just
a we were too late to save ourselves sort of thing. Bless you.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It just
I'm
felt
okay.
like you were talking before you decided you had to sneeze, and then I'm assuming look
Yeah.
for a trash can or a handkerchief or something.
No.
Liz was saying you were saying something before that, so I just kind of letting you finish your
Well,
thought.
yeah, I mean, it's very much like feels like Mass Effect, right? Like they came up with a way to defeat their enemies, but all of them died before they could do it, right? So
I mean,
here's
that's
the
what
plans that
the
we were planning to use it, but we never got a chance to use them.
well, I hope not because I believe those turned out to be not workable either. So, but yeah, I mean the timeline just doesn't work for me. They killed us, and then it just keeps saying more information. It's like, well, how do you know about the parts you weren't there for?
I mean, when they say they kill us, they destroy civilization, he's still around, so clearly there's some of them, one or more
Yeah,
of them
they buried
left.
a bunch of their cities underground or underwater or wherever. I guess underground
Yeah.
is better because the volcano thing brought it back up. Still don't figure that one out. I guess Giggle had the last laugh there. He destroyed the last planet of the protoculture. I mean, they keep saying it like that was the last, but, you hit one, you could have hit any number of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess. Look, I know I tried my best to focus on Giggle's sacrifice, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, Sivil is the main character here. And Giggle's sacrifice is sadder than it meant to be, in that nobody really cares about Giggle.
I
Including,
guess
at
so.
the end of
We
the day,
kind of
us.
care. I mean, I care a little bit in the sense that he was a character that was developing and doing stuff, but like, oh, he could still have something to do, but yeah, he's gone. Not quite traitor, not quite ally.
Oh no, he was full-on traitor.
Just
He killed Vogel, it looked like.
yeah. But again, the way he did it and why he did it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to work with. Well, I guess he was working with Basara at the very end, singing
Yeah, you
together.
sang my song before me. Amazing.
Yeah.
Or whatever he said, I can't remember. It was a positive note. Yeah, I don't know.
That's it. That's it, basically.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how to feel about it. I'm sad that he's gone, but not terribly sad.
I guess it's supposed to have that gravitas, like, oh no, this important character that we know from the very beginning who turned sides and make this great sacrifice. We're supposed to feel sad about him, like,
Well, remember, we're also supposed to like Basara.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like on the fence here. It's like I'm supposed to like Basara, but am I? Or is Basara supposed to develop into a character I'm supposed to like? Like, by the end of the show, is he going to be different? Or have I just not liked the character I'm supposed to be liking the whole time? At which point, I have to consider that for everybody, right? Is nobody supposed to develop past where they started to become something that I'm supposed to like? Like, am I supposed to be like not rooting for Sivil and then rooting for Sivil, or am I supposed to be rooting for Basara and then just riding the ride?
See, I think one of the things I'm not liking about Sivil is that she started as a very strong character. Weird that she was doing all those things, but she was a strong character. Then coma happens, and she's been a lady in distress ever since, right? She's just there. She's a motivation for other characters. She's as close as getting fridge as you has gotten into this. Well, yeah, as close as getting fridged as you've gotten in this series so far, right? She comes back eventually after 20 episodes of just being there, right?
I
She's
mean,
like, oh yeah,
the fact that she only got like 2 words every sentence doesn't help either. Hey, I guess in that respect, she kind of does pass the Bechdel test. She's never talking about boys. Although she did one time. She did one time say Basara's name, so I guess. Did she say?
I mean, she did talk more.
End?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think she did.
She did. Let me see.
I think she may have done. She might have sent Giggle's name there at the very end.
Yeah.
Or at least when he started doing his black hole attack.
Yeah.
Starting to power scale to Dragon Ball Z characters.
Yeah, we're now into planet destruction.
Yeah, and Grabble has a, Gallic gun. Oh, well. You have anything else you want to throw out here before we wrap up this episode?
It feels like an episode that should have like great consequences. Like, oh, this is a payoff for Giggle's evolution. This is what he went so far as to sacrifice himself, but he was willing to just go like he was like Sivil. Of course, he was going to sacrifice himself. That's not a surprise, right?
Yeah, no.
Maybe
called
the
it at the beginning
up
of the episode.
Teaming up with Basara, I guess, but then he died quickly, so it's like, oh, we're finally singing together. Yeah, my song has reached you. Reach across and now you're dead. Like, okay. So much power. It also seems like what he did was a desperate last move that in a way didn't care because he was going to wipe out everybody because the only thing he cared was about Sivil. I guess in a way he's like a evil Basara. He only cares about one thing. Basara cares about the music. Sivil only cares. Gil only care about Sivil, and everything else can literally go to hell, into a black hole.
Yeah, I mean, we did see destroyed a bunch of ships and Valkyries and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's where we're gonna wrap up then. Once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?